What's going on, you guys? My name's Ty Knots, and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns, 5 criminal cases solved by television appearances. Number 5. In 2001, a 21-year-old by the name of Seth Gonzalez spent the day with a friend at a local arcade with one of his friends. Though when he returned home that evening, he was in for the shock of a lifetime. He discovered that the bodies of his entire family, his mother, father, and sister, were strewn all about his house. Some reports indicated that they'd been stabbed, while others state that they had been shot. On one of the walls of the family's home, racial slurs had been spray painted, and as soon as Seth saw this, he ran to his neighbor's house screaming for them to phone police. Police arrived a short while later to investigate, but found one glaringly obvious red flag. There were no signs of a break-in, meaning that whoever took the lives of the Gonzalez family either had a key, was already inside of the home, or was willingly let inside of the home. Police immediately began to suspect that Seth himself may have somehow been involved. This idea was strengthened the following day when officers found out that less than 24 hours after his family's passing, Seth had visited the family's accountant to discuss his inheritance of $1.5 million. However, it wasn't until days later when Seth appeared on live TV that police truly began to blame him for the crimes. At the family's funeral, which was broadcast on TV, Seth pleaded with the individuals who took the life of his family to please come forward, offering a $100,000 reward to anyone with information leading to their arrest. He then sang Mariah Carey's song "One Sweet Day" in honor of his family. Though throughout all this, police believed that Seth was acting very strangely and seemed suspiciously insincere. They then investigated Seth's alibi further and found out that he told conflicting stories to numerous family members and friends. This, coupled with the knowledge of Seth's inheritance, was enough to convict him of involvement in his family's passing, resulting in Seth being sentenced to 3 life sentences in prison without the possibility of parole. Number 4. In October of 2009, news stations all across North America reported on what is likely one of the strangest stories to ever make headlines. A 6-year-old boy had become stuck inside of a metallic balloon that was now hovering 7,000 feet in the air. The balloon was shaped like a typical flying saucer and was reportedly an early prototype for a new form of transportation. The boy's parents then stated that they'd been working on the balloon and left it unattended for a brief moment, without it being tethered to the ground. The balloon then accidentally floated away, with the family's son stating that he'd seen his 6-year-old brother climb into the balloon just before it took off. The story that soon followed was absolutely insane and is still unbelievable to this day. Emergency services chased this balloon for over 12 miles, with police eventually grabbing the balloon just northeast of the Denver International Airport. Though when they brought the balloon to the ground, the boy wasn't inside. This raised numerous questions, with the most obvious being, did the boy happen to fall out? However, a search was then conducted of the family's home, and the young boy was found to have simply been hiding in the garage and was never in the balloon to begin with. Obviously, after this discovery, the public began to realize that the entire event was simply a giant hoax, though this should have been apparent all along for all the obvious reasons. The entire event was then confirmed to have been a hoax later on, when the 6-year-old boy accidentally let it slip on Larry King Live, looking up at his father and stating, "You guys told me we did this for the show." In the weeks that followed, the boy's parents were then tried and convicted of numerous charges, though none of them carried a very lengthy sentence. The boy's father was sentenced to just 90 days in jail, with the mother being sentenced to only 20.
This is ending, and it looks like...
He's coming down?
Yeah,
Yes.
he is coming down. The prevailing winds are not a factor now. He's going straight down, and here's somebody to help him.
Is he coming down fast, sir?
No, he's not, and he's on the ground.
Bingo.
And there's somebody running towards him.
And here it is from another angle. This is a tape delay. He is on the ground, a fairly soft landing. Somebody has grabbed the ropes.
Somebody's grabbed the rope.
And they're going up to the little capsule, and they're going to check on his well-being. It's finally ended. We don't know the exact location, but it's obviously somewhere east of Denver.
We believe 100% that he was on board.
And Falcon was really in the garage this whole time. I don't know if Falcon can hear me, but was he, because I know at some point he fell asleep in that garage, but he was hiding out because he thought you were going to punish him for something that happened earlier in the day. Did he hear anything? Did he hear you screaming out, "Falcon, Falcon"?
He's asking Falcon, did you hear us calling your name at any time?
Hmm?
You did?
You did?
Why didn't you come out?
You guys said that we did this for the show.
Yeah.
No.
You didn't come come out?
No.
I heard what he said, but I'm sure I'm not. It wasn't really clear. What was his reasoning why he heard you screaming Falcon, Falcon, and I'm sure he heard his mom screaming Falcon, Falcon. But why didn't he come out of the garage at that point?
Well, you know, whenever we tell him things like, you know, it's a bad thing to do, he does go and hide.
Number 3. Sophie Brown was certainly not a woman you'd expect to be a criminal. She was an attractive and young primary school teacher living a seemingly great life. She was well respected at her school, with many of the children in her class insisting that she was their favorite teacher. However, the darker side of Sophie was finally revealed in 2015, when she appeared on the UK television show Come Dine With Me. In Sophie's episode, she was hosting a full moon beach party themed dinner. Though unbeknownst to her guest and those who orchestrated the show, Sophie was a very well-known shoplifter. So much so that her appearance on the TV show had her called out by an employee who worked at a local supermarket and recognized her, as her photo was allegedly hung up in an employee room of the establishment, warning employees to report her to the authorities if she was caught inside the store again. According to the store, she'd been using self-checkout registers to steal, as she somehow managed to trick the computers into believing that she'd paid, when she clearly had not. Police were called as soon as she was spotted on the show, and she admitted to them that she'd been stealing groceries from the store between April of 2014 and July of 2014, stating that she'd fallen into severe financial troubles. However, she later retracted this statement and said that she had no idea that she'd not been paying for her groceries the whole time. After her crimes were revealed to the public, she nearly lost her teaching job. However, the school decided to let her stay as they had no evidence that her personal life in any way affected her teaching ability. Number 2. In 2004, the UK Police Department had a very lengthy list of individuals who'd clearly participated in crimes, yet the police had no way of tracking them down to apprehend them. Because of this, the police force got creative and devised a plan to create a Channel 5 game show that would be called the Great Big Giveaway Show. They then sent out participation invitations to 20 of their most wanted criminals. After these criminals were called to the show, they were frisked by an undercover policeman who was dressed as a common security guard. He then checked each of their IDs to ensure that they were who the police department was looking for, then sent them in to meet the game show host and coordinators. After this, the contestants were told to wait backstage for a brief time while the makeup room was being prepped. However, instead of a makeup artist coming out to greet them, a group of officers emerged and cuffed 17 of the suspects. Each of these individuals were wanted for crimes as simple as avoiding to pay a fine all the way up to assault. After the sting proved to work quite well, the police force then issued letters to another 150 other participants, of which 144 responded, leading to each of their arrests. Number 1. A man by the name of Juan Catalan managed to dramatically lessen his prison sentence after he appeared in the background of the HBO television show, Curb Your Enthusiasm. In the moments leading up to this, a young girl named Martha Puebla was gunned down outside of her home, an attack that was allegedly in response to her testimony against Juan Catalan's brother, who'd been involved in the passing of another younger man. Juan was the first suspect involved in taking the life of Martha, though he insisted that he was innocent, stating that he'd been at a Dodgers game on the night of the attack, citing that he had ticket stubs to prove it, even offering to take a lie detector test. However, none of the officers were willing to listen to his story. That was until Juan remembered that an HBO camera crew had been at the same game recording footage for a television show. He ended up phoning HBO after CCTV footage of the stadium didn't pick him up on any of the camera angles. HBO then happily handed over some of the uncut footage they had recorded, and sure enough, Juan could be seen at the stadium eating a hot dog and watching the game with his daughter. Additionally, the film had been time-coded, proving that this recording took place at the exact time that Martha had been shot, definitively proving his innocence. A judge then ruled in his favor, and Juan was awarded $320,000 as part of a settlement with the police force who wrongfully accused him. However, the ending to this report isn't all that satisfying to Martha's family, who still have no idea who took her life, aside from knowing that it was likely a gang member who'd been involved with Juan's brother somehow. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.